Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Unscripted Podcast. I'm your host, Herlyn, and today we have an amazing guest with us, Sierra Sellers. Sierra is a talented singer and songwriter with a voice that feels like soul therapy, and she's known for blending raw emotion with inspiring storytelling in her music. And I'm so excited for you all to hear about her journey and everything she's overcome to pursue her dreams. So, hi, Sierra. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, thanks for having me.
I'm super excited, and I know you're busy, so I just wanted to thank you again just for making time.
For sure, happy to be here.
So we're gonna jump right into our theme. So today's theme is growth starts on the edge of discomfort, and Sierra's story is the perfect example of that. And we're gonna dive into the challenges of being a musician in this generation and just how those challenges have shaped her into the artist she is today. So Sierra, I just want to start with your journey, where you started, and so I'm gonna ask you what first inspired you to start singing and writing music.
To be honest, I have no idea. It was just something that was always in me. I always loved music. And I have songs that I've written like as a kid from elementary school songbooks and stuff. So it's just something that I've always done and always been drawn to naturally.
That's really interesting, especially that you've always enjoyed music, especially as a kid. And I want to ask you, what shaped your sound and the artist you are today?
Definitely my influences, just what I was exposed to as a child, neo-soul music. So Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, D'Angelo. Grew up listening to a lot of R&B as well. So I would say listening to Jill Scott and Erykah Badu, though, have been my greatest influences and definitely contribute to how my sound has been shaped. And more recently, I would argue that my sound is or has been shaped from having gigged with different musicians, just singing at restaurants or bars or whatever live, the improvisation that happens and just singing with a bunch of different people who come from different places and have their own experiences has really inspired me.
That's really inspiring. I'd like to ask you, what's your favorite place that you've performed at, or do you have a specific place that you like?
That's so hard. There's so many places that I love, and both in Pittsburgh and, for context, from Pittsburgh, born and raised, well, technically Swickley. But I tell people who aren't from Pittsburgh just Pittsburgh because they don't understand. So gigged there for many years, and then it'll be 2 years of me living in LA in January. And there's a spot that I love singing out here called Perch, and it's like this rooftop restaurant. But I love Burn. It was a cigar lounge in Pittsburgh. I loved singing there.
That sounds pretty. That sounds beautiful. On the rooftop.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
It's a vibe for sure.
That sounds cinematic. I like it. Definitely, I want to ask a little bit about the move. What were some differences when you moved from Pittsburgh to LA?
In music, I guess, just being exposed to different people. And like I said, like we all have our own experience in music and our upbringing and our own influences that we all bring to the table. So I'm blessed to get to experience like a diverse scene in music. And I love playing with different musicians. It really helps my ear because everybody approaches the songs differently, and it's really cool. So I would say the caliber of musicians out here too is just different. The gigs are different. Like they kind of pay better. They hate to take it there, but let's keep it real. They kind of pay better. And I don't know. It's just new. It's different. It's vibrant. Everybody I feel like out here is hustling, is grinding. We all moved out here for a reason, to make something happen in music. So being around that energy is really like electric.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So a lot of like-minded people that kind of help you stay motivated.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I kind of want to transition a little bit into like how you navigated challenges. So what's been the toughest part about pursuing music in today's world, especially with just how competitive and digital the industry has become?
Yeah, I would say the fact that it has become digital has been really difficult for me personally because I don't get it. I don't get social media. I don't enjoy it. I understand that it has power. I have no idea how to wield it. So in Pittsburgh, when I was living there, 2019, I felt like I was coming up on some really big opportunities that were coming my way. I had just been named an artist to watch on NPR. This was like beginning of 2020. I was working with people to set up like a tour, and I was, things were moving, and then COVID hit. And then the world shut down and all of those things went away like that. And then in COVID, you have platforms like TikTok, even Instagram, even Snapchat found its way back somehow. And all of these different social media platforms that people started really just like using to their advantage more than just, sharing who they are and keeping in touch with people. And it completely changed the landscape of the music industry. And I have no idea as an artist where I fit in with that. And I don't know if I want to fit in with that. So it was more than just like a challenge of like, now I have to think about different ways to market and put myself out there beyond performing live. And moved into the challenge of like, this isn't my dream. I don't want to post videos of me dancing or singing online to promote my music. This is not the kind of artist that I personally want to be. So I'm kind of still stuck in that challenge of like, what is my dream exactly? Like, let me get detailed and specific and ask for what I want and what I'm looking for, instead of just this umbrella of I want to be a singer or I want to be an artist.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think a lot of people can agree COVID messed up a lot, and it definitely made a lot of changes. Like you said, a lot of different social medias. TikTok has blown up completely after COVID, and it has changed the direction of a lot of people. So I want to ask you personally, how have you started to kind of face those challenges, and what are you doing right now to kind of just keep you going?
Honestly, I do what I feel, and what I've shifted into, instead of how can I make content or music that people will want to hear, it's more so how can I be better as an artist, as a person, to the point where the music is undeniable. Like how can I just make the best music so that it has to be heard? Like a career has to happen. And that's where I'm at with it now, and facing it is that like I can't control whether or not people like the stuff that I put out, but I can control the quality of the music. I can strive to be a better singer, producer, whatever hat I'm wearing that day. I can strive to be the best at it and learn from mistakes and listen to others and, just make undeniably good music.
Yeah.
And I think that will always trump the kind of like, for lack of a better phrase, like the star power that people on social media have, which again, I'm saying all of this not to belittle anybody that is having, enjoy social media or find success on social media. I'm just saying it from somebody who doesn't enjoy it or has not found success on it, or in it, excuse me. How can I still have my music be heard? And I think for me, a way for my music to be heard is just make it incredible.
That's definitely true. And I think you've done a great job with that.
Thank you.
But definitely, and I think you're kind of also, I like the way how you're kind of saying, just kind of be true to yourself, because it's not like you're making music for other people. And I think that's where some people might lose joy if they're trying to always please others. But I like the way how you're kind of like making that music for yourself, and you're making it good because you know it's good. And that's what's keeping you going. I think that's really interesting. So I like how you were talking about COVID and how that kind of changed the trajectory of what you're doing. So I want to ask you, how has stepping outside of your comfort zone, especially like after COVID, played a role in your personal and professional growth?
I mean, moving to LA was extremely out of my comfort zone. Like I said, born and raised Pittsburgh, never left, never really thought about leaving. And then I started making trips out here. Also important for context, I hate flying. Like I passed up vacations as a kid because I didn't want to fly. So the fact that I was even taking trips out here and starting to make those types of moves and stuff was really uncomfortable. And like just putting yourself out there in any capacity is not like comfortable. I think about an artist and how we take in the world and then we respond to it, or some people challenge thought through their art and change the world. It's not always that you're just putting yourself out there at a bar or a restaurant or a venue and bearing your soul on a stage to maybe have people clap. You know, it's like, it's pretty terrifying, and it's incredibly uncomfortable. But you just get to a point, or at least I just got to a point where I was like, if I want to be a singer, if I want to be an artist, like the only way to overcome this is to face it. And that's what I've done.
Yeah. That's definitely, I see that a lot, and I think that's really interesting. And also, California is a very, very long flight from Pittsburgh, so I can definitely see that motivation just even in the flights and the trips, because especially if you're afraid of flights, that is a very long flight. But I kind of want to change trajectories a little bit and kind of talk a little bit about your music. So I wanted to ask you, what message do you hope your music conveys to its listeners?
So I work a day job as well as singing, because singing doesn't pay the bills for me right now. And I have a degree in early childhood education and special education. And in Pittsburgh, I ran after school programs. Out here, I'm a behavior therapist for kids with autism. So I've always had this motherly side to me. Also, community is very important to me. And on the other side of that, my mom passed away when I was 5 years old. So when I was listening to music growing up, to Jill Scott and to Erykah Badu, these women mothered me. And it's not like they told me what to do or they shared their experiences through their music and helped raise me. And I think I hope to take on that same responsibility, in that I'm not gonna like tell somebody how to live their life through my music, but I do intend on sharing my experiences and uplifting people, and honestly, specifically women. And just making women feel seen, loved, heard, valued. That's all really important to me. Yeah, and I think that's the message that I've consistently put out through my music over the years. This idea of like the strong, independent woman who's vulnerable and who doesn't stay, defeated for too long. Yeah,
that's really, really inspiring, and thank you for sharing that with us. And I like how you kind of brought in both sides, kind of how your music is not only are you trying to help other people, but it's how music has also helped you in a way. And I wanted to ask you personally, how do you feel like your struggles and triumphs have become a part of that creative process?
I think that's why I started writing songs and leaning on music so much. It's just always been a way for me to naturally express myself, to feel better. Like, but even to this day, when I'm sad, I sing. Like, if I'm having trouble falling asleep, I will literally sing myself to sleep. Like, it's a soothing thing for me. So I think that, yeah, music has definitely been a healer to my wounds, and it's obviously inspired me to write songs about it and to help other people.
That's inspiring how you're taking that approach to also help other people through your music, because I feel like nowadays people make music, or even just art in general, like they make art for different reasons, and I think that there's not a lot of people that are doing it with the purpose of helping other people. I think it's mostly like, oh, I want to get rich, I want to get big, I want to make music. But the fact that you are approaching music with this bigger picture in mind is very inspiring, and I think that that's something that should be commended.
Thank you.
Of course. So I want to help kind of inspire other people too, and I think overall your story has been inspiring, but I want to ask you just personally for some advice for anybody that's looking to maybe pursue music or has started to pursue music. I want to ask you, how could you help them or give them any advice in an industry that is kind of pushing a lot of artists to conform? How can you, what advice can you give them to kind of just stay true to themselves?
Man, it's so difficult, because you can tell somebody to stay true to themselves all day. You can tell somebody, just be yourself, you're good enough. The world needs you just as you are. And it's not until they experience life themselves a little bit to learn and understand that that's really true. So it's not necessarily my piece of advice, but it's a piece of advice I heard just literally on TikTok from Jessie Reyes. And somebody asked, what advice would you give to people? Same question as you. And she said, fail faster. And I love that, because I consider myself a little bit of a late bloomer. Like, I'm 29 and I'm still pursuing this, but I spent so many years being shy, not taking risks, and just assuming that I'd always have time. And I still kind of feel that way too. But I wish I had failed faster and moved to LA faster and taken risks sooner. Because I don't know, it's just all worth it in the end. Like, it's crazy, just in 2 years, all that I've gotten to experience, all that I'm about to experience. I have a gig I'm leaving for next week where I'm singing on a resort in the Maldives for 3 weeks.
Oh, that sounds fun. I'm jealous.
Literally. So, like, didn't you know how I got that gig? I sang one song at a night. It was it's a night called New School Jams out here, where there's a theme, and this was like the Pride theme, and the guitar player on the gig recommended me for this Maldives gig, and it just all worked out, and now I'm just gonna go live on a resort for 3 weeks and sing every night.
Yeah, that sounds like a dream.
But that flight is about to be crazy. That flight is like 2 days of traveling, but it's gonna be worth it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm in school and everything, but that is some great advice, and thank you so much for sharing it. One more piece of advice I'd like to ask for is just for anybody that's too scared to take like that first step forward to pursuing their dreams. What type of advice could you give them?
This might sound like a little corny, but I think it's true. Seek comfort from your elders. And not everybody has good relationships or mentorships with people in their family or in their community. But I think as a society, we are losing this idea of like the elders in our families and our communities as being people that are wise and that are guides and things like that. And like moving to LA and taking these big chances, I was not confident to do that by myself. And by myself, I mean like I talked to my big sister, I talked to my grandmother, I talked to my aunt, I talked to my father, and they all said go. And I really was hoping that they would tell me to stay. So I listened to them and saying, encouraging me to try this and whatever. And I'm so happy that I did because I don't know, just trusting them and listening to their experiences and stuff like that showed me a whole different side of things.
Yeah, and I think that's something that as a society, we're just drifting kind of away from. I feel like people are trying to grow up really fast, not really looking to listen. Sometimes it can be hard to like your parents and stuff. And I like how you're kind of encouraging us to kind of go back to those family bonds and just like or listen to the people that are older than us that have experienced life more than us and to kind of just take that leap. And I think that's really encouraging.
Good. I'm glad.
So, with everyone that I do a podcast with, I always have a little fun segment and do a little game. And for today's game, it's a quick little lyric or life. And basically, the rules of this game is I'm going to basically read you either a song lyric or a motivational quote. And you're going to have to guess whether it's a quote or a lyric. And we're going to see how many you can get within a minute.
Okay.
So I'm going to put my timer on and then we're going to see how many you can get in a minute. Okay. So a minute is on. So the first one is, you do not know you're beautiful. That's what makes you beautiful. Is that a lyric or a quote?
Lyric.
Yes, that is a lyric from One Direction. Okay, so growth is painful. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as saying suck somewhere you don't belong.
Quote.
Yes, that is a quote by Mendy Hal. Okay, so the next one is, it's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away.
Zang. Okay. I'm gonna say lyric.
Yes, that is a lyric. Okay, so fear is the mind killer. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me.
Scripture. Quote.
Yes, that is a quote. Take a sad song and make it better.
Oh, lyric.
Yes, that is a lyric. Hustle until you no longer need to introduce yourself. Okay, that's it. But you got everyone.
Yeah, weird.
Everyone right?
But was that last one? Was it a quote or a lyric?
The last one was a quote.
I like that.
Yeah, that's cute. I'm gonna have to share these all with you when the podcast is over. But I think that is about to pretty much wrap up our episode for today. So, Sierra, your story just reminds us that growth truly starts when we embrace discomfort. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. It's inspiring to see how you've turned these challenges into a strength to pursue what you love. And everyone, if you want to find Sierra, you can find her on Instagram, TikTok, that'll all be in the description, and her handle is Sierra_Sellers_. And I want to thank you, Sierra, again for joining us on today's episode. And I also want to thank everyone for tuning into the Unscripted podcast. If Sierra's story has inspired you, please share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And next week, we'll be exploring whether rejection is the end or just redirection with another incredible guest. So stay tuned and thank you so much.